The second video now on religions, which is the third video in our series on 1500 CE. But in this one, we're actually looking at 1500 CE and the differences between then and today, because we're looking at religious geography. Now, our objective is that we will describe the distribution of major religions in 1500 CE and locate those same religions in the contemporary world by creating comparative maps. And in this PowerPoint, I'm going to actually show you some of the major features of the difference there. So, why study religious geography in the first place? Religion is a significant part of culture. And as I said last time, it helps drive history. Um, because it's used to analyze mindsets and motivations. And individuals, people, drive history because of their motivations. And that lets us look at cause and effect. But also because religious geography is cool, like see it spreading over time and changing and morphing and splitting. It's really cool. So what were the concentrations like in 1500 CE? Well, I'm not going to read this whole slide out to you because that's a waste of our time. But you can pause here and note which ones you need to note. There will also be some educanon multiple choice questions on where these things were. But I'm going to show you. So these are just the words of where they were. Now, here's a map of where the religions were in 1500. So you see here that you've got the key down in the bottom, and you may not be able to see Islam over here because my head will be there. But Islam is the crescent with the star, like you saw in the religions PowerPoint. So you've got Christianity and Judaism up here in Europe with some Islam over in the area called the Balkans and also in what is now Spain. But Islam is also spread in here through Asia and down through Africa, and Hinduism is concentrated in what is modern day India, but also here in Southeast Asia a little bit. Islam has made it down into these Southeastern Asian islands, what is now part of Oceania, that area. And Buddhism is spread not in India, you notice there's not a lot of it there, but it has spread all the way up through China and become dominant religion in China and Korea and also Japan. But Christianity, notice we start to see the spread. It's right over here in these tiny islands, the Caribbean, because because Spain has started to get colonies there. So the concentrations today, again, here's the list, here's the descriptive list. And on the SOL test, they very often ask you just using these words, so it's worth knowing them. But let's look at the map. All right, so the major world religions today, let's look at how it's changed. Christianity, you will notice, is enormous now. Christianity is in all of Europe and has dominated Spain and even taken most of the Balkans there, and it has spread through all of North and South America, which you saw in the previous map. I'll flip back. There, we don't have any of the major religions listed there. And there wasn't really all that much listed up through here, or even in through here in that map, or especially Australia, which is lurking down here in the corner. Let's go back forward, and you see that Islam is also spread up through the middle part of Asia, that Buddhism still dominates pretty much the same area it was in before, that Hinduism is still in the same area, that Islam down here is in most of the same islands, but that it has sort of spread its reach down this side of the coast more. But really, Christianity is the thing that has changed the most. And you notice that Christianity is North and South America, also in this southern part of Africa as a dominant religion, and over here, crazy, in Australia and these islands which were colonized. And really, that's the story of colonization, Europeans taking over other places and spreading their religion. But I want to turn your attention to this little dot right here. And you can probably hardly even see it, but that's where Israel is, which is where Judaism is concentrated today. Where it was concentrated before the Roman Empire kicked all of the followers out of that area. But in our current world, the state of Israel has become a homeland for the Jews. So there's this little tiny area of blue. Now, let's talk about why concentrations change. Sometimes empires are conquered by other empires that have different religions, and they enforce their religion or spread it naturally, or set taxes up on people who aren't their religion, so you have an incentive to change religion. Sometimes people who follow religion migrate and spread it that way. Sometimes religions change in concentration, getting smaller because they're persecuted and there's laws against them. Sometimes religions change because, like in Christianity, there's a schism, which means a split between two different parts of it, or more even. And in that way, you might even end up with two new religions. Then there's also just drift. Over time, religions sort of spread in various little ways and changed slightly from place to place. But the big story of 1500 to the present is really about colonization, European colonization of the world, and the way that changed where religions are. So here's two examples. First, Judaism. Judaism was founded in the Middle East, where I pointed out that little blue dot earlier. But the Jews were expelled from Judea by the Romans after they rebelled, and they settled at the edges of the Roman Empire, which was mostly up in Europe, but also over in Asia and even in parts of Africa. There's a fascinating Jewish community in the mountains of Eastern Africa. But there was persecution of the Jews in Europe when Christianity became dominant, and during the Middle Ages it was really serious. And then the Holocaust during World War II led to the creation of a Jewish state in what was then called Palestine, and that led a lot of the Jews to travel there, and now that's the highest concentration of Jews in the world. So it's a change in concentration over time. And the second example I'd bring up is Christianity, which was founded in Judea and spread throughout all of the Roman Empire. And it became dominant in Europe because the Romans made it the official religion of that area. But even as the Roman Empire broke apart, Christianity came to be the glue that held together various European kingdoms. Then Europeans discover North and South America and what was then called the New World, which is North and South America. And because they colonize it, Christianity becomes the dominant religion of those places. And so that's what we're going to talk about with religious geography.